Hi, welcome to our first episode of Inside the Lines. I can't believe it's football season.
I know. I'm so excited.
I know, I'm so excited.
It's finally here.
I am Lizi, Arbogast sports editor at Tallapoosa Publishers, and we are joined by a new special host, Ryne Gallacher. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
Good. We're shaking hands now.
I'm excited to be here. I'm new to the team, and I'm excited to get a bunch of information out for y'all, and I'm excited about the football season and our teams. I think some of our teams are going to do really well this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have spent a lot of time, Caleb and I, previewing all of our teams as the overall season. Our Gridiron Guide came out today in the paper. Will come out in the record tomorrow. So we're going to jump right into the first week of the season, week 0, game 1 for all 5 of our teams get into action this week. So let's start with our game of the week, where Scott and I will be for Inside the Lines Live on Friday night. It's Horseshoe Bend at Dadeville.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Horseshoe Bend this year. I think after last year, kind of a disappointing year with the spread offense and not really getting anything in sync going. Spread offense, it really doesn't work a lot in high school football. The only team I've seen successfully do it is Edgewood, back when they had their 6 championship runs.
Yeah.
And they're moving to a power running game this year. And I really like what Coach Phillips is doing this year. He used the word physical a lot, and I like that in the 2A division. They have a lot of depth, and if you look at our guide, these guys have some big guys, and that's why I like the physical thing. They have by far the biggest team, I think. You look at that thing, everybody's about 6 foot tall. There's only a couple guys that aren't 6 foot tall. So when he uses physicality and looking at the other teams, I really like what he's going to be doing.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that'll benefit Horseshoe Bend is that, when you're running the bone and the eye, it's really just simplifies things. I mean, that's the problem with the spread offense is that high school kids, no offense to high school kids, but they just don't get it yet. They aren't at that level yet.
It's a lot of repetition that you have to do with the spread offense. You can't just pick it up in 1 year, and a lot of these guys are only 2 years into football.
Exactly. And so I think that Coach Phillips has really simplified things. And I think I actually ended up picking Horseshoe Bend to win this game. And I went back and forth, but Dadeville had a really, really key injury this last week in Josh Taylor, who was supposed to be their starting running back. Also their starting defensive back. Also their starting kickoff returner. So he was a huge, huge part of what Dadeville does. And I think that's going to just kind of take them down a notch, at least this first week.
Right, and losing him is also going to help that special teams that was really struggling a little bit last year. So they get that special teams down. I think they'll be a lot better because teams were getting midfield and really good field position against them. Another thing I like that they're going to be doing is they're going to be moving guys around a lot on defense. And that really can confuse a young quarterback, and there's a lot of young quarterbacks around the area right now.
Yeah, and I do like what Lane Smith, Dadeville's quarterback, has shown during the preseason, but it's a whole different story when you have a defensive line running at you and you've got linebackers in your face. You know, it's a completely different scenario there. And I just think Dadeville needs some time to settle in, and they're going to have now 2 sophomore running backs as their starters. Christian Nelson and Javante Holly will be their starters. And I just think that injury was so key, such a key piece of what they were doing. That I don't think they're going to get off on a good foot.
Well, I think Horseshoe Bend's going to be able to pull it out and finally get their first win against Dadeville.
First time.
Dadeville's got probably the toughest schedule of everybody in our area. It's a really tough schedule. I do like some of the guys that they have on offense. They're going to be running the spread, but they got some good receivers. They got Childers, Wilkerson, and Walker. They're all seniors. They're all going to be coming in and looking to make a name for themselves and try to make some noise. They have a lot of depth. But the problem that I hear with them is a lot of the guys are playing the same side of the ball, both sides of the ball.
Right.
And so I feel like with all that, those guys are going to get tired, and that's injuries, and you can lose a key player in the middle of the season, late in the season when you're trying to make a playoff run, if they're able to make a playoff run.
So let's switch over to Bullock County at Reeltown. I think this is a lot of people have their eyes on this game because Reeltown has such high expectations.
And Bullock's no pushover either.
No, and they used to be. Bullock County. Well, that's a win. And now, I mean, they've got a new coach, Coach Willie Spears, and he runs a triple option offense, which is really, really tough to defend.
Right.
Reeltown has some question marks on their defensive side of the ball. So I'm curious to see how this game unfolds and if Reeltown's as good as we think they are.
Right.
As I think they are.
Right, and we can't go without talking about Eric Shaw. We expect big things from him coming back from an injury. We hope he does well. And they also got
He's a South Carolina fan, by the way.
I'm a South Carolina fan, so go Cox. They have the 3 road games later on in the year. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But they have a late bye, which normally I don't like a late bye as late as they normally have it. But I think with them going into probably making a playoff run, I think that's going to help them out a lot.
Yeah, hopefully. And, this is one of those games where I think it's going to take, the offense doing really well because they are so young. Not young, but new on defense. They need some time to settle in, and so if their offense scored like 38 points against Bullitt County last year, so
right.
I think they should be okay. Then last on Thursday night, we've got Winterboro at Central Coosa. I think everybody expects them to lose again. They haven't won a game in 2 years, and I think everybody just expects them to lose, which that could work to their advantage.
Right.
The fact that
they might be coming in thinking that they're gonna be a pushover team. You could really surprise somebody.
Right. And they have some athletes. I mean, you talk about a guy like Dante Daniel, he could easily be a starting running back on any of our teams, including Benjamin Russell at the 6A level. And he's got that size and that speed and that grit. He's a really good guy. So anytime you have a weapon like that, if he can get loose 1 or 2 or 3 times and the defense can do its job, I don't know what to expect, but I hope that Central Coosa is able to pull one out. And then lastly, we are headed to Friday night. Benjamin Russell is headed down to Beauregard for its season opener. And another one that's going to answer a lot of questions. Benjamin Russell has a lot of potential this year, but how are they going to put it all together?
We talked to Coach Smith, and he wants to do a lot of running and a lot of short passing, to gadget plays, screens, pitches, things to motion, things to get the defense confused a little bit, get the defense moving one way while you go the other way. They got to get those turnovers down, though.
Yeah.
The turnovers, they hurt them a lot last year.
It was rough last year.
Right.
And this is a game that they should win. But I don't know anything about Beauregard, I'll be honest. But I keep hearing that they've gotten better. Benjamin Russell only beat him by a touchdown a year ago. But I think if Benjamin Russell puts all of his pieces together, this is a game they can't overlook, though, because of the hype that surrounds next week's game with Danny Horn coming back and the stadium being renamed and all that. There's a lot going on. But I do think that I hope Benjamin Russell can put together that offense that they've been trying to put together for a year, and now that they have a year under their belt at it, a new quarterback, hopefully that'll help them.
Right, the coach's son, right?
Yeah, coach's son.
Well, I think that they're going to do well in the first game. They got a bad taste in their mouth from that Spanish Fort game, I think.
Yeah.
The playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And
they should have done better.
They got a lot of upperclassmen, though. They just need to learn how to win close games. That defense is always going to keep them in games.
Yes.
That offense, normally we say the defense has to help the offense. I think that offense has to help the defense in this case.
Oh, yeah, that's
keep
something.
Possession, run the ball, run the clock down some, and keep the scores low, because that's where they're gonna thrive, I think.
Yeah, that's something Caleb and I talked about. And the defense doesn't need to improve much. I mean, they held their opponents to 18 points a game.
Right.
But they only scored 16 points a game last year. So that's something that hopefully we'll see them sort of explode in the first week.
Right.
But I guess, by this time next week, we'll know a lot more. It's one of those things that all the coaches have said to me, we look really good right now going against ourselves, but how are we going to look on Thursday and Friday night?
Yeah, the sleds and the trash cans don't fight back. So.
Exactly. So, all right. Well, we appreciate you guys for joining us. Scott and I will be live on Thursday night for our first episode of Inside the Lines Live. That'll be at Dadeville. Ryne will be joining us as well. And Ryne will be around on the sidelines all season. So
I look forward to seeing some of y'all.
Yeah, say hello and make sure you tune in next week for our Week 1 preview.
Thank you.